which is such a beautiful thing to see. Welcome to Creating Your Dream Home, a short little webinar where we're going to start feeling excited and inspired to perhaps this year is going to be the year that you make your home work for you. And I thought it'd be a really nice way to celebrate our shared passion for interiors, for colour, for design, for beautiful things, for art, for textiles, rugs, furniture, all the gorgeous stuff, and how we bring it all together to create our own individual personal dream home. So I could already see in the comments, we've got people from Edinburgh, Brazil, Newcastle, Glasgow, France, Brighton, which is just down the road. Oh, Isle of Skye, lovely. Vienna, the East Midlands, Minnesota. Wow, fantastic. Texas, Adelaide in South Australia, California. This is amazing. This is amazing. All these lovely, as Vagabond Heart comments, she goes, how lovely to imagine all these colour fans from around the world. And she's from Wokingham, which again is just up the road. We've got Melbourne, another one from the Brazil, Colombia, Dublin, Liverpool. This is fabulous. This is fabulous. So this is getting a feel for just how many of you are out there who love your home and love interior design and love getting together with like-minded people. So this is super, super exciting. For anyone who's watching this on catch up, because I'm recording this session tonight, which will be available on a free replay for the next few days. Welcome. I'm so glad you could make it. I'm sorry if I wasn't in your time zone, but it's gorgeous of you to join us all the same. So without further ado, I suppose you found the chat bar, which I can see here. This is a great place to ask any questions as I move through the presentation, and I will try and answer. Usually people have got all kinds of great tips and questions going on in there. So yeah, that's the housekeeping really. Use the chat bar, and if for any reason you want to watch this again, look out for your inboxes in your email and I'll be sending you the replay. So let's bring up this gorgeous presentation that I've been working on for you today. Are we all seeing that? Can I just get a thumbs up from someone to let me know the tech's working? In the chat, oh, someone from Poland and the Peak District, how amazing. If you could give me the go-ahead that everybody's seeing this. Oh, it's all gone very quiet in the chat bar. Well, I'll just, yes. Okay, it's working. Okay, brilliant. All the chats come alive. Everybody letting me know it's working. Brilliant. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's discuss what I feel goes into creating your dream home, and perhaps also discuss why I think it is so very important that you absolutely should have your dream home. This is something that I wanted to open with. A little bit of science, a little bit of data. I think this is always really interesting to come back to the facts about how passionate I am as an interior designer and design coach to really appreciate how important our home is to our overall happiness. So I wanted to bring up this fantastic scientific study that came out in 2019, just before COVID. So I think these stats might even be, you know, even more in favour of us home lovers by now. It was carried out, it's called the Good Homes Report. You can find it online, download the PDF, but I'm going to give you the headlines here. And it was carried out by the Happiness Research Institute, which is based in Copenhagen. And their whole remit is to study people's happiness in all spheres. So this one was very much focused around the importance of our environments, our homes, the places that we live in, the places where we share with our family, with our friends. How important is that to our overall feeling of happiness? Now, this was quite an extensive piece of research. They canvassed over 13,000 people across 10 different countries, and it's absolutely fascinating piece of research. And you'll be, I mean, I know I'm slightly preaching to the converted here, but it was no surprise to me to see how the Happy Home score rated so highly actually just second place, just behind the importance of mental health on our home happiness. So even more important than our physical health, which I think was quite exciting, because I think we really put a lot of attention into our wellness, into our fitness, into our nutrition, wanting to feel good in our bodies. But actually the home happiness just pips physical health with 15% over 14%. The other really interesting one for me in particular was that happiness on home is almost 3 times more important than our income, more important than the money that we've got in our bank accounts. And I just thought, my God, if you think about how much energy, effort, time we put into our income, our earnings, and seeing that, oh, if I had this and that and the other much money, I'd just feel so much happier. I know this sort of capitalist society that we live in is always encouraging us to make more money. But yeah, having a happy home 3 times more powerful to influence your overall feeling of happiness. 73% of people who are happy in their homes are happy in life after all. Do you want to give me a high five in the comments if you're feeling that? Because I imagine you guys really, really feel that the home is really important to you, and interior design is really important to you, and it's really important to how happy and fulfilled you feel in life. So as I said, I feel like I'm preaching to the converted a little bit, but it's really nice to see the science and the stats, don't you think? So these are the kinds of things I think that if we dig a little deeper, these are some quotes that were pulled out of the research from some of the people that they interviewed as part of collecting all this data. It's generally this feeling of ease, feeling safe, feeling in control. And this is really interesting, feeling connected with who we are. And this is what brings the sense of happiness. So when our home is warm and furnished and decorated, beautifully organized, it looks like we love it, we take care of it, it kind of signals that all is well in the world. And I mean, that sentiment really, really resonates with me. And here are a few of the quotes I pulled out that I think beautifully illustrate this point. So we've got a quote here: "My home is my own sanctuary. My job is very social, so I like to come home and just relax, not be bothered by anybody." I can 100% agree with that. That's excellent. Then we've got this quote from Ellen, who says, "Feel at home here. Our home has our identity in it. It makes me feel that it is connected to myself." Isn't that beautiful? So the importance of home being something that visually and emotionally connects us to who we really, really are, I think is a big part of this work. We've got Giorgio's quote here: "My home is a refuge, my castle, because I feel safe, I feel protected, and I don't feel in danger. I don't feel that there is anybody who's going to come and bother me. I feel safe within these walls. I feel safe." Beautiful. And then Diana from Bucharest simply says, "My home is an extension of my soul." Isn't that just the most beautiful thing ever? I absolutely love that. And funny enough, in the chat here, we've got Joad, who makes a comment saying, "As a positive psychologist practitioner, I absolutely love the connection of home design and well-being. So much that this research is here to back this up. 100%. It's brilliant, isn't it?" So another part of the research that I wanted to pull out and share with you is that they identified that there were 4 core emotions involved when it came to this feeling of happiness. And our happiness with our home goes hand in hand with our happiness as overall as humans. As I said, that stat, 73% of people who are happy in their home feel happy in life. So these are the 5 core emotions associated with home happiness. First up, pride. And this is a beautiful one, isn't it? And I think this could be, again, lots of different things for different people. So I want you to have a think about how pride plays a part in your home. It could be working really hard and saving up to buy that dream house in that neighborhood where you really, really want to be. And you've got a sense of pride that you worked hard and managed to buy your dream home. Or it could be from completing some DIY at home. Maybe you've got some pride on the fact that you lent a wallpaper and you've decorated your room, or indeed that you've done the work, you've got the knowledge, you've kind of like taught yourself the principles of great interior design, and now you're able to bring a room together, stand back and go, that looks amazing, and I did it all myself. So that is, I think, a beautiful one. It's a beautiful one to have pride in your home, even after a good spring clean. I mean, let's not forget even just simple things like giving the whole place a good vac and a dust and a declutter. We can stand back and feel really proud of ourselves. So I think we can look for a sense of pride in lots and lots of different places. The next one is this feeling of comfort. Oh, I love this. So I suppose on a kind of like really basic level, a feeling of comfort would be shelter, warmth, feeling cozy and dry. But then all the way up, I think, in terms of my approach to interior design, this sense of comfort would also come from layering lots of rugs and textiles and soft furnishings and beautiful quality furniture and timber, and how they all play together, sort of touch points, if you like, to make a house feel really comfortable as well. Investing in really, really, great furniture like a super comfortable sofa, a beautiful, comfortable bed. All these sorts of things, I think, are playing on this core emotion of craving comfort, which then helps us to feel happy. Then we move on to identity. So I'm just going to actually got loads of comments coming through. Should we just have a pause? Because lots of people are commenting on these core emotions, which I think is so lovely. Magdalena says, I need your help to make me my home happy. We can do that, Magdalena, no problem. Tessa says, it was you, Sophie, that taught me to love colour, and now I can't live without it. Oh, I love that. Rachel's just realised she'd like to correct a decorating disaster. Yeah, we do have those too. And then we have Gemma here says, we've renovated our whole house and all the designs and ideas were mine with a little help from hubby. So I am so proud of it. Oh, I love that. That's so great. Julie says, I feel so proud that anyone who comes to my house always says they feel at home. That's so beautiful. And then Vagabond Heart says, after my husband died and I had to start all over again in a new place, I had to decorate based only on my own taste. For the first time ever, I think, after the initial panic, it was a revelation. Oh, so great. Oh my God, there's loads of comments, but this is brilliant. So this is all really resonating with you guys, which is fantastic. Okay, the next core emotion is identity. So this is this important concept of seeing yourself reflected in your environment. So for me, this could be anything from picking your favorite colors and rolling them out on the walls. It could be seeing your collection of objects and artwork, things that you've picked out that you love, all kind of displayed together. It could be a collection of your own artwork, your own craft projects, your own DIY projects, or even just simply displaying all your beautiful family photos and sort of travel pictures. Anything that you've got that literally nobody else could have, or styling things in a way that makes it unique to you. And what it's kind of not is this sort of copycat interior approach to interior design, or just buying everything, buying the whole look from the catalogue and just installing it, or, you know, jumping on the latest interior design trend and going, right, that's what I'm going to do. Creating homes that feel authentically original and individual is where this concept of happiness really, really is. So who have we got here in the comments? We've got Deb saying she's just moved into a new build and I can't wait to add colour and personality. See, that's so interesting as well. With a new build, they usually are like the ultimate blank canvas. They haven't even had any imprint or history imprinted on them yet. So they are all fresh for you to make what you want. And a lot of people can find that really overwhelming, but I actually think it's really, really exciting because you can literally create anything. Safety. So we saw that, didn't we, in the previous slide, this feeling of safety, of being able to shut the door, shut out the world, and feeling like this is your space, being really, really important core emotion. But I also think safety can come from kind of maybe renovating an old property that, you know, the roof might fall in or the electrics might like give somebody a shock. Anyone who's been through a big renovation project knows the stress of living in a building site. But it could also mean things like paying off your mortgage. That might give you a sense of safety. So again, thinking about how your home makes you feel safe, or taking out a really long lease contract on your rental. All these different things can mean safety to different people. And then finally, another core emotion is this feeling of control. Oh, it's my phone beeping. I'm going to turn that beeper off. We don't want to be disturbed. Let's shut that up. Yeah, this feeling of controls. I think this is really pertinent right now, where the world seems to be spiraling slightly out of control, doesn't it? There's a lot going on out there. And I think sometimes feeling like we can shut the door and can control our own space and organize it and lay it out and have it just how we want is really, really important to a feeling of ease and happiness. Nick says, I got kind of obsessed with interiors during the pandemic. I was curious before and continue to be, but it was definitely a means to take control of my environment. And I'm really only realizing that in retrospect. Nick, that's so true, isn't it? Brilliant, brilliant sentiment. I think, again, you know, all this research was done pre-pandemic. So my feeling is some of these core emotions are probably even more important than they even were in 2019. Sue says, my home is certainly unique to me, starting with that gilded porch and front door, and it just runs from there. Oh, Sue Fox, that sounds amazing. We all want to see what a gilded porch looks like. That sounds fabulous. Okay, let's move on. So this is a really lovely quote that I pulled out of the research. Oh, why is that? My chair just done that. Right, oh, am I still there? It just dropped down. It's so weird. So this is from Lindsay Graham, psychologist, research specialist at the Psychology of Space at the Center for the Built Environment, University of California. See, I'm pulling out all the clever people for you. And she says, our home spaces are a collection of our lives and who we are and where we've been. And that, I think, is what we should hold in the front of our mind when we're thinking about creating our dream interior. So what are the ingredients to creating a dream home? So I've just kind of like condensed this for us. I think it's a home that tells your story. So stop following the trends or being swayed by other people's opinions. That's my number one piece of advice for you all. Only you can know your style, your love of colour, and a home that is really unique to you is, quite frankly, the ultimate dream. I think also a dream home is something that reflects your passions. And I'm really aware that decorating home is a wonderful opportunity to just get really creative, start really kind of embracing the joy of pattern. You can get involved in textiles and objects and art and design and rugs, and just the whole beautiful sweet shop of design is something that I think really, really feeds the soul. And then the other key ingredient for me is creating a home that feels as good as it looks. This is a big one. Again, I think in this very sort of 2D visual world we live in, where we're swiping through Instagram and tapping on Pinterest, we get very preoccupied with how things look, but creating a space that connects on an emotional level, that is the key to creating a happy dream interior. So I thought it'd be nice to just recap on my story and how I've got to be here talking to you about how to create dream interiors. So just a quick little recap. So my career sort of started well, it was pre-2000 actually. I graduated late 1990s and I became a stylist assistant. But I got my first job in 2000 on BBC Good Homes magazine. I was their homes editor and I worked there for 5 years. So I was commissioning all the photo shoots, all the shopping pages, writing all the copy, really helping people keep across the latest interior design trends, the latest product launches, and also decorating features to show people how to bring it all together. So that is my background in design. After going freelance, I worked for all the top UK publications like Ideal Home, House Beautiful, Living, etc., Homes and Gardens, and brands like Laura Ashley, John Lewis. And I still currently write a monthly column for House Beautiful magazine. So I'm keeping my finger on that journalistic pulse, which is really good. Some of you may know me from my TV shows. I got my first TV show in 2005. That's 20 years ago. That feels mad. That was ITV's 60-Minute Makeover. And since then, I worked on Cowboy Builders and DIY SOS. But my big break was probably judging the Great Interior Design Challenge along with Daniel Hopwood. We did 4 seasons of that. Then, as you know, I'm a guest judge on BBC One's Interior Design Masters. And in 2023, I hosted my own show, Dream Home Makeover. So across all of that 20 years of TV, I have designed thousands of different rooms for so many different people. And really, really seeing the power of a great makeover, taking someone's house that doesn't work for them on a layout or practical front, doesn't reflect their personality, has no kind of like design or color, isn't cohesive, isn't harmonious, and making it all happen in a fast-paced speed of TV has kind of been the ultimate apprenticeship. I think you'll agree. Absolutely love working in TV. It's such an exciting media industry. From 2014 onwards, I started hosting live masterclasses and workshops, and I continue to do so. I host regular colour psychology workshops. We've got lots of dates coming up. Got one in March. So signing up to my newsletter, you'll get to find out about these. And then at the end of last year, I launched my very first at-home workshop. So 8 lucky people get to come here to my home in East Sussex, spend the day with me. We use my home as the backdrop to learn about Maximus Interiors. And I just love meeting people in small groups and helping them with design like that. It's so exciting for me. I love it. Then in 2019, I launched my online interior design school. I've taught over 6,000 people to date, and I absolutely love the way I can reach out to so many people all around the world, all different time zones, and teach everything that I've learned in interior design over the last 25 years. It's super, super exciting. I've got classes on everything from colour psychology, how to create your Maximus home, and even just sharing my sort of design process that takes you from A to B, because it's ultimately to stop people feeling the fear, going for the beige, and helping them create a home that they really love. And then 2023 onwards, we launched the Harlequin collection. This is my collection of wallpapers and fabrics with Harlequin, which I'm super, super proud of. And then only in a couple of weeks, actually, I'm launching a whole huge range of homewares with Dunelm, who are a homeware and soft furnishings brand here in the UK. So it's been a very, very organic. And I forgot to mention the podcast there. How could I forget that? In 2018, launched a podcast with my friend Kate, which again is another place where I get to share all my love of design and all my knowledge and everything that I've learned from TV makeovers and renovating my own properties, all the columns that I've written, all the photo shoots that I've styled. It's been a lot, but I love to share it with you guys. So that's kind of why I'm here, I guess. Oh, Denise says she discovered me watching a show on Netflix. Oh, that was Interior Design Masters, I think. Julie wants to know if there's going to be any more shows in the making. I haven't got anything in the making right now, which is a shame, but then probably just as well, because I'm super busy doing everything else. And lots of you saying you've loved the TV shows that I've worked in over the years. That's so super lovely of you. Right, let's motor on. So a little bit about my home. Now, my home, I have to say, has been absolutely central to my success, both for my brand, but also from an emotional level. I think, as you probably can tell, I juggle a lot of plates. I look after my mum, I look after my son. I've got lots of different things going on, lots and lots of different projects. I work from home, and having a home that works for me beautifully, I think, really grounds me and helps me do my best work. It helps me feel creative, it helps me feel centered, it helps me have clarity on who I am and where I'm going. And it just brings me so much happiness because it's also the central hub for all my friends and family to get together. So I am definitely at this point in life where I have created my dream home, and it's absolutely magical. It's a blend of getting the layout working, but also just I'm so in my groove with it now, really knowing what all the colours and the patterns and the style of furniture that I love and how to bring them all together really, really works. So over to you. How can I help you create your dream home and have a little bit of the magic that I've discovered? And it's a lot, right, isn't it? There has never been so much visual stimulation out there. I mean, as I said, Pinterest, Instagram, blogs, there's Substack, there's magazines, there's TV shows. So in a way, it's amazing and it's super, super exciting. And as you can see, I'm putting myself across all those platforms. But I'm also aware that it's never been harder to cut through all that noise and really discover what your own authentic sense of style is. And that, as the research shows, is what's super, super important. It's not about copying people like me, for example. It's about finding your own colour palette, sense of style. Let's just check the questions. Girl on the Beach says, I find maximalism to be both luxurious and comforting. Oh, yes. The Peacock says, I'm starting to put more into creating decor that sings like my personality and showcases my artwork so my clients can see them hung before they buy. Oh, that is super clever. What is the colour of your ceiling, please? This is called Berlin Light, I think, by Little Green. And then a few compliments saying they love my style. Oh, thank you, guys. Right, so this is what you need. If you're going out into the shops, into the Wild West, trying to think, right, I've got a room, I've got to redecorate it. Where do you start? And I'm very clear on this. You need a roadmap. You need a process to follow so that you don't make mistakes. You do things in the right order. It's almost a bit like following a recipe if you're cooking a meal. You need to start by, first of all, working out what it is you even want to eat. What's the occasion? What your taste buds telling you. So I call this phase one. This is the vision. And this is really important. This is about setting your intentions for your decor, thinking about how you want your home to look and feel. This is the point at the very beginning, not the end when you're like picking accessories. Right at the very beginning, you need to explore your personal style, your personal love of colour, and one that really resonates with you on quite a deep level. And if you do this work now at the beginning, I've put here, it will keep your rudder steady throughout this very potentially stormy renovation process. The second phase, I think, is really gathering all that knowledge. So you really need to understand how colour works. You really need to understand how to build up harmonious colour palettes, because I'm going to obviously be encouraging you to use more than one colour. Lots of interior designers say you can only use 3 colours, but you can absolutely use more than that. You just have to know how they all work together. And then also think about how they're going to thread together throughout your home so you can create that lovely sense of cohesion and flow throughout the home. Then phase 3 is implementation, everything from planning your colour palettes, what materials you're going to be using, your layouts, your lighting. You're going to need to know all of this, for example, so you can brief your trades like your electrician and your decorator and your plumber. Again, this all needs doing before they turn up. The amount of people are like, oh my God, the decorator's coming next week. I've got to pick a paint colour. You really need to have done phase 1 and phase 2 before you've even booked your decorator. You're also going to need to source everything that you need for the room and hopefully make it all come within your budget. And then I've put here the fourth phase after everything's been put in. I've called it reinvention, but it's basically keeping the whole thing alive. I mean, I believe doing up a house is a journey, not a destination. And I think keeping the energy alive involves constant curation and reinvention. So from clearing the clutter to reorganizing to collecting more beautiful things, restyling things. You want to keep your creativity topped up. You want to keep your home feeling fresh and invigorating. I mean, God forbid we ever finish our homes. What would we do? What would we do then? So let's take a look at this process then that I've talked about and see it in action. And I'm going to use a couple of rooms in my own home as illustrations. So when I talk about inspiration, I'm not even often looking at interior design images. I'm not even looking at Pinterest. I usually like to get out and about. Now, I've literally just come back from the most inspirational interiors retreat that I hosted in Marrakesh. And it has always been one of my favorite places to get color and design inspiration because the colors are so me. They're very bright, they're very bold, they're very warm. There is so much arts and crafts there, from weaving and fabrics and textiles and prints and tiles and rugs and pottery and glassware and metalwork, and like it's literally a designer's dream. So trips, if you can't get yourself to Marrakesh, fair dues, but there are lots of other places close to home where you can get inspiration. Obviously, we've talked about online, but also cafes, bars, hotels, restaurants. It's sometimes worth, you know, pushing the boat out and going for an expensive cocktail somewhere just so you can experience the interior space. And again, I'd be looking for all the design details. How have they lit it? What's on the floor? What's in? How have they decorated the toilets? Because that's quite often always fascinating. Color palettes, how they hang artwork. There's so many great ideas that we can gain from these spaces that have been professionally designed, and they've usually been designed to create awe and wonder. So you can get, you know, and make people feel great to be in. Art galleries, design shows. I regularly go and see what other people within the art and design industry are doing, not just interior design shows. So that's a great place to get design inspiration. We talked about travel, holidays, city breaks. Landscapes and architecture as well can be really, really good. It's not always just looking inside buildings, but the outside of buildings, different coloured landscapes, different sunsets, sunrises, coastal landscapes, forests, woodlands, cityscapes. Just open your eye to the fact that you can get inspiration anywhere. And then also, of course, clothes, jewellery, fashion, retail displays are also great places to look for design. Caroline says the Ivy chains have great decor in bathrooms. They do. We've got one in Brighton. Obviously, there's a couple in London. I think they're spattered around. There's also, is there one in Tunbridge Wells? I think there is. Anyway, yeah, they are fantastic for inspiration. I get a lot of inspiration from cool hotels and restaurants. Next, you want to think about the feel of a space. And this is where you might start building up more of a mood board with your inspiration. So this is, as an example, how I wanted our TV snug here at home to feel. So I wanted to create this feeling of a warm fireside feel, which is amazing because this room doesn't even have a fireplace in it, but it was the feeling of a warm fireside, cozy living room. I wanted it to feel candlelit, soft and luxurious, quite a soothing feel. But I also wanted it to feel quite striking and unexpected, moody and atmospheric. So when I start looking at these feeling words, using my knowledge of colour psychology, which is one of the areas that I teach online and indeed in my live workshops, I can start pulling images and paint chips and colours that give me these feelings. And again, that will be very individual to you as well. Not everybody conjures up the same colours to associate with this feeling. Maybe you could have a minute to just think about, if I said soft and luxurious, soothing, moody and atmospheric, what colours spring to your mind? And then you're going to want to write yourself a brief. So I've broken this down here into these sort of 5 steps. Start with who, what, when. Think about how you use the room and what time of day. It also helps to look at what activities you'll be doing in the space and with whom. So example, my TV snug is a space I use with friends and family. It's a TV room, so we just use it in the evenings. And what are we doing in there? We're watching TV, literally. Not really much else happens in that room. So the mood, how does the activities played out in the room affect the mood you want to create? So because it's an evening space, it's a TV space, I wanted to create this kind of retreat, cozy den cinema vibe. So I wanted it to feel very snug and moody and cocooning. The style, consider the architecture of your house and the location it's situated in, as well as your personal style preferences. So interestingly, in my house, because it's a English country house based in East Sussex, surrounded by woodland, I like to use a lot of English botanical motifs in my home. I mean, I've got this like amazing woodland mural right here behind me. So I use a lot of traditional English country florals and botanicals. That's my kind of thread, which matches this farmhouse architecture and the landscape it's in. But my personal style preferences for this project was inspired by all those lovely colours and textures and patterns of Marrakesh that feel a little bit more flamboyant, perhaps, and maybe a little bit more edgy. You also want to think about your room's best bits. What do you love about the bones of this room? Maybe it's the view, the beautiful window. It could be great original features. It could be the light. It could be the tall ceilings. It could be the original floor. It's good to know what you want to draw the eye to and celebrate in a room. And then also problems to address, things that you don't like about the room. For example, it might have a low ceiling or totally lack character or have an ugly radiator. Those are the things that within your overall scheme, you're going to want to kind of camouflage and disguise. So the next phase is to come up with your colour palette. So in a nutshell, my colour palette is cozy, warm, and this feeling of retreat. So I've gone for rich velvets, dark timbers, and mixed it with a patinated copper, metallic, and handmade textiles and Moroccan rugs. And I've just put my sample box here for you, which show you a little bit of how those materials and elements work together and how nicely and tonally they work together. It's really important to do a swatch box. It's a step within my design process that you get the actual samples in and just check that tonally all those colours and all those textures are working beautifully together. And then this is how it works in the room. This is the ta-da moment. So I decided to completely cloak the room in this beautiful dark browny purpley red colour. It's called Cordoba by Little Green. And this was going to create this very sort of dark and cocooning and cinema club type feel. I put it all over the ceiling. So I just wanted to drench the room in colour. I wasn't particularly bothered that this room feels dark because, like I said, it is a room that I use in the evenings. However, it's absolutely fabulous if you've got a hangover as well in the day. It's really nice. Or if you just want a quiet spot to read a book, it feels very, very restful in that dark colour. And then the nod to Marrakesh comes through. That's a beautiful painting that my best friend Sophie did. We went to Marrakesh together a couple of years ago, and she painted that picture, which is a sunset from the rooftop of our favourite hotel, Al Fen. So that really brings all those lovely, rich, spicy colours of Marrakesh into the room. And I love the fact that, yeah, it also reminds me of a beautiful special holiday that we spent together. And then you'll see the country florals there on the sofa and in the cushions, the kind of leaf motifs and the chintzes, which is a designed thread that helps link with other areas of my home and brings that element of country house interiors, which is really super important for my home, for where it is. Here is another angle, so you can see how important lighting is here. I haven't filled the ceiling with loads of spotlights because that will completely kill the vibe. So I've decided to put wall lights, which just wash a lovely warm glow down the walls. And then I just took this shot tonight, actually. This is obviously not a professional shot, but I just wanted to show you the other side of the room and how it works with the TV. We actually put that in the redundant fireplace. But I love the way the dark colour kind of hides the TV. And then I found some storage for all my lovely books. You get that lovely library feeling, which again, I think helps a room feel cosy. rough hewn timber. We've got terracotta tiles on the floor, a really slubby Moroccan rug. So all these textures as well, really helping to create that cozy vibe. So I'm going to quickly rattle through another room just to show you how completely different within the same house you can create a really, really different feel. And this is my inspiration for our conservatory living area, which is at the opposite end of the house, on the south facing end. It's another sitting room, and it's a room we use in the day. So completely different time. It tends to be a place that the snug's more for like family, me, Tom and Arthur, whereas the conservatory is more of like an entertaining space. So a completely different vibe, and so therefore completely different inspiration. I took inspiration this time from the English country side. So meadow flowers, classic English country interiors, and actually really importantly, this modern piece of artwork, which is something that I pre-owned. My friend Becky painted this for me. Used to be in my office, but with this new wallpaper going up, I needed to find a new home for it. So I put it on my inspiration board, knowing that whatever I was going to design for this space, it had to house this painting. So I think it's really interesting where your inspiration can come from. It can come from a piece of artwork, it can come from a landscape, it can come from a new wallpaper and textile collection. You can have your whole eyes open to the world of inspiration. It can really literally come from anywhere. So this is my sample box for this scheme. It's fresh, light, joyful. That is the feeling that I wanted to create in this room. So lots of patterns and different scales, creates a very convivial, energetic and creative space. Also moving away from all those heavy velvets and slubby Moroccan rugs and dark timber, moving into pale woods, cotton fabrics, raffia. So they already, as textures, they feel a lot fresher. And here it is. Talking about the red thread, isn't it interesting that these doors in this deep reddy purple link to the living room at the other end? So this is what I mean about coming up with a palette. So it's still linked. So, you'd think that really dark red room would just look really odd in my house, but actually you can see this colour is in the kitchen island and also in the door. So that's the clever thing. When you build up your own personal colour palette, you can use it in different ways to create different feelings in the room. And there it is from the other angle. You can see Becky's painting there in the middle picture. And hundreds of different patterns, from stripes, ticking stripes, to archive florals, to modern ditzy florals. I've got a kilim rug in there. So very, very eclectic, very, very maximalist, but that's all helping create this very kind of busy and uplifting vibe. There's lots going on. There's lots to delight the eye, and contemporary pieces of art and lighting, but then with like really traditional vintage pieces of furniture that I inherited from my grandma, which again is all part of me telling my story and having a lovely sense of nostalgia in the home. So two very, very different projects, but following the same process to make sure that from my original inspiration, which I always go back to, the journey to building up a look and collecting all the different elements along the way, I think that you can see that reveal is very much in line with the original inspiration. There's a real kind of connectivity there. So I thought we could tackle, just to end up this webinar, which has massively gone over half an hour, but hopefully you're all still here. 5 common mistakes. This is the first one that I see all the time, starting with the paint color. I'd like hands up who's like, right, I've got a room to decorate. They start with the paint color, and usually putting lots of annoying little squares and patches of paint all over the walls, and then just getting like even more confused than you ever were. So I want you to know that picking a paint color is the last thing I do when I'm pulling a scheme together, because your paint color is going to support everything else: the fabrics, the furniture, the art, the objects, the flooring. It's kind of the thing that holds it all together. So you want to choose and harmonize all those other elements and then work out what paint color is really going to bring them all together. And I tend to match them in and check they match in with all the fabrics, the artwork, and that way I know it's going to be really harmonious. Another common mistake that I hear a lot about is following trends or indeed other people's opinion, asking friends or family members outside the house. I think you should definitely ask your family members within the house, because this is their space too, for their opinions. It's a total no. You've got to remember, this is your dream home, not theirs. And as we can tell just from scrolling through Instagram, everybody's got very different taste. They've got very different relationships with colour. And so you don't want to be swayed or diverted by somebody else's opinion. But here's shopping for bargains, because this is something that trips people up all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love a discount. I absolutely love a bargain, but only when I've got my vision and my colour palette in place will I go shopping. Too many people are like, oh, that sofa's half price, brilliant. And they buy it and then they're like, right, I bought this teal sofa, now what goes with it? What paint colour is going to go with that? How am I going to pick a curtain to go with that? No. Only shop for your bargains once you've got your vision and your colour palette in place. And don't be swayed because something's cheap. You'll only go and regret it later. Another common mistake is having no vision. So renovating is a long and winding road, and building your dream home takes a lot of time. I call it the go slow approach to decorating. So as I've already said, having your vision is going to be like your North Star, guiding you throughout the project and stopping you making mistakes or chickening out of making bolder decisions along the way. And then finally, I've put getting things the wrong scale, so a poor layout or furniture that's the wrong scale for the room, will always create a feeling of dis-ease and disharmony and kind of like disrupt the space. So you want to get the scale right, you want to get the layout right, create flow in between the items in the room, and this will create a really lovely feeling of ease and well-being. Linda says, pretty please can you bring the Great Indoors podcast back? I mean, we hope, Kate and I would love to do that. We have got to carve out some time amongst all our other projects, but we would love to do that. But don't forget, we've got over 150 episodes, all free for you to download and listen to. So if anybody hasn't listened to our podcast, Linda can say it's obviously very much well listening to. So this brings me to what you're going to do next. If you are going to create your dream home, where can I help you? Where are the gaps? Where do you need to know? So I just wanted to highlight that I've got 4 key courses on my online interior design school, specifically designed to help you wherever you are on your decorating journey. Now, the first course that I wrote was called Be Your Own Interior Designer. This was because I realized a lot of people didn't have a process. Like I say, they were starting with a paint chart, or they were buying a sofa in the January sale and not really understanding that, like a recipe, a room has a process. You've got to think of your ingredients, you've got to install them and buy them and order them in the correct order in order to get a successful, cohesive, beautiful room at the end of it. So that's a course which is really useful if you're starting with a blank canvas, if you're starting from scratch, maybe you're at the renovation stage or you've just bought a new build. This will take you through like the A to Z, if you like. It'll take you through that roadmap. The next course I have on offer, which is absolutely my most popular course, and I love sharing this knowledge with people, and I'm still unbelievably, I think, the only person who's offering this training, is colour psychology. This absolutely transformed my practice when I started using it around 2016. Again, it's based in science to understand how we all have very, very individual relationships with colour. So there's 2 things: knowing your personal colour palette, which is pertinent to your own particular personality. And then the second part of colour psychology is harmonious colour palettes, that I talked about, that create this feeling of ease, knowing that the tones of pattern all work together beautifully. But it's all designed to create a home that really supports you emotionally and just feels like the ultimate dream home. The next offering I have is Confident Colour Scheming, which is kind of slightly level 2 on the first 2 courses. It's a real walls to floors deep dive into sharing all the elements that interior designers think about, from curtains to wallpaper to ceilings to floors. There's more colour psychology in there too to help you really think like an interior designer. And then finally, my latest course, which I launched at the end of last year, Create a Maximalist Home. That's for the more is more amongst us. This is where I get to share my own personal design philosophy. So if you love my home, you love more is more, not necessarily the same colour palette, not necessarily the same patterns, you just know you love stuff and you want to really feather your nest. This is a course which is going to help you curate your collections, allow you to clash and blend lots and lots of different patterns, use more than 1 or 2 colours so you can really create a home that is just erupts with joy. So how it works, my online design school is a series of very simple, very easy to follow step-by-step tutorials. I think because of my background in magazines and editing and journalism, I'm really used to breaking down quite complex processes to help make people really understand them in quite an easy bite-sized way. So I do this through a blend of video tutorials, room tours, slideshow presentations like the one you're watching now. I want it to be really accessible so you can access it anywhere in the world, anytime, any place, as long as you've got a laptop or a tablet. So it's completely self-paced. You can start, stop, pause, repeat. You are in control. I think that's really, really super important. You can also join our supportive community over on the private Facebook page, which is really great to look for advice, even on sourcing or questions about the course, or even just sharing your beautiful room reveals. It's a really, the most amazing community of people who've done my courses. And then I'm a bit like that. You can print off some of the downloads to help bring it all together. So there we go. That completes my free webinar. If you've got any questions about my courses, I do have to say there is 33% off right now, which ends at the end of this month. I've been running a January sale all month. It is the time. This is my biggest discount window of the year. I will not be taking prices any cheaper than this for the rest of the year. So this is my big discount promotion time. Just a few days left. If you do want to buy a course under discount, you get into it, realize it's not for you, I do a no quibble 14-day refund. So you can get in there, have a look, see if the course is for you. And if it isn't, I just want to give you your money back. So there's no problems there. And if you've got any questions, obviously you can always email me or DM me and I'll be happy to answer. But ultimately, I've created these courses because I passionately believe that you deserve a home you love. I think creating your dream home is absolutely within your reach. Sometimes we move quickly. Sometimes it takes us a long time. I mean, I've been in this house 9 years. And I'd say I've just about finished it. So for me, creating my dream home wasn't a quick win. And I'm already really actually thinking about what I can do next because we never want it to be over. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found that interesting. And I'd love, if you want to tag me at Instagram, send me any DMs. I'd love to see your own projects. And have a beautiful Thursday evening.